guys, welcome to the neighborhood. This is the Pixel Street Podcast, episode 136. Are we already 136 weeks old, Connor?
I was thinking years, but that didn't make sense in my mind.
Yeah,
so...
I almost said years at first, too. So
yeah,
that would have been
I kind of thought you were going to go on that trail for a second. I was like, no,
I was
that
going
doesn't...
down that way, but I veered off my own trail, and I really surprised myself at the end there. So
yeah, 136, man. I mean, like, it felt kind of wild when we hit 100. That felt like a big number, and then we hit 120, 130. I know, it does, and it's just... we keep going. We keep showing up. We're here. We're doing the thing, and...
How many weeks are
here's another episode.
Is it like 50?
52?
Okay, 52.
Yeah, that's really impressive, guys.
Yeah. It's we've had a fun run. We're doing the things.
136 weeks of mediocrity. Let's go. All right. I am your host for this week, John Hansen. I am joined by the one and only Connor Cobb. Connor, how's it going?
I'm good, honestly. I've had a pretty rockin' day today. I haven't done a lot of video game related stuff lately, which kind of sucks because that's what I want to do all the time. And I'm glad to be sitting here with you guys and having the opportunity to talk about it. So thank you, both to our new friend here, and then obviously also John. I see you all the time, so I don't have to thank you for anything. But it's it's not a do they call these calls? Is that...
I think
Man,
so.
I feel like a boomer.
I know they call it a
take
call.
the camera off.
I always, when I always want to hop on with my friends, I always call it a Discord call. I feel like that's a good name for it.
For sure.
It just doesn't seem to have the same, I don't know, impact, meaning when it comes to being on the internet.
Connor, we've been in a pandemic for over the last year, and the only way we've really been able to talk to people is through this. Call it whatever you want.
Sure, I guess now, yeah. I don't know. Call has always felt like a weird descriptor for it. It just, you call people on the internet? What do you mean, you idiot? You don't do that.
I feel like we're spending way too much time on this.
We are.
I was gonna say, it's like how on iPhones, it's like you have like the little phone logo for calling people, but like half the people who have that don't know what a handset is.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like it's a defunct piece of technology that nobody understands. I love it.
All right. Well, Joel is a little bitch, and he can't stay up this late and record with us. So instead,
Sorry, Joel.
we called in Chaz. Oh, I'm gonna butcher this last name. Wacholz?
Charlie Wacholz is fine. I prefer to go by Charlie. Chaz is just what it says on Discord.
Okay. Sorry,
that's what I use for Smash. So
all right.
Yeah.
Before we begin, want to tell the people what you do, what you've done, where you've been.
Yeah, so I'm mostly a writer, but I also do podcasting, streaming, YouTube content creation. I kind of try and do all the things because I'm, pretty early on in my career, so I'm just trying to cover all the bases, be whatever someone needs me to be. But if you know who I am, you probably either know me from talking on Twitter quite a bit, or from my writing over at DualShockers, where I worked from I think June until about a month ago when things started going downhill with the new management. I'm not gonna, obviously I'm not gonna get too into that here.
Yeah.
If you've been on Twitter and you pay any attention to DualShockers, you know what he's talking about.
It's a situation. Yeah, it's a thing.
Oh my
God. Go look at it.
It's really unfortunate because I really enjoyed working there. So many great people, so many great friends. But that's probably where a lot of you know my work from. Otherwise, you might know me from my work on YouTube, Twitch, or my podcast, Comfort Food, which is kind of like in a school / time constraint enforced hiatus right now. But I'm hoping to get that show back up and running. But it's basically I just bring on a guest or two, maybe even three, and we talk about a game or just generally a piece of art that brings someone positive memories, or that someone has a strong association with. So I think the last episode that went up was Mega Man X with my friend Joey. But I think the people that you guys might all know, I've done work with Zombie Kills on that podcast. I've had my girlfriend on that podcast. Who else? Yeah, it's a show about just like loving something, really.
That's
something being special to you in a way that isn't necessarily relatable for other people. That's an interesting concept.
Exactly.
I think if you had to give me your bite size, what would you say your
What's
I
your
guess
comfort
favorite
food?
piece of media, or yeah, what's your comfort food? What are you, you know? I know it's hard to
Oh,
condense
man.
it that far, but if you had to think of like one thing, and if you want me to throw something at you, I would say my comfort food growing up was always Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic, the old
Oh,
BioWare
yeah.
RPGs.
Uh-huh.
Played them over and over and over, and not only do I think they're fantastic games, but they were a part of a period of my life that was very tumultuous. And so they spoke to me in a way, like they were there to always ground me. So I totally respect that art can have so much more meaning than just face value for people.
Yeah, totally. I think for me, most Nintendo properties I think are pretty solidly in that category. Breath of the Wild. I'm a little on the younger side, and Breath of the Wild came out at a time when I was like kind of falling out of love with video games. I feel like everyone who really likes games has that period in like kind of late high school where they're
Yeah.
where they're kind of like in that period where they're like, do I still want to keep doing this? And then Breath of the Wild and the Switch came out, and it's like boom, just like that launch lineup, those experiences that I had, even just day one, so many memorable experiences. And I just remember being in the front seat of my dad's car on the way to this retreat that he was making me go to because my parents were making me get confirmed. And I just remember starting up Breath of the Wild right next to him, and just like it was just unbelievable, that sense of freedom and everything that I felt. And I feel like that's one of those experiences that I always look back on when I think of, okay, how can I bring in people's memories, their positive associations, that kind of thing into it. But anything from like, you mentioned Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I'll go back to that pretty much any day. But yeah, literally anything that's like that people love, because most of the episodes are things where I reach out to people because I know they like a thing and I want to talk to them about it.
Sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That really
great.
sounds like something up my alley. If you ever looking for a guest, hit me up.
I'm always looking for guests.
I would love to talk
Pencil
about
us in.
things
We'll
love.
talk.
It's what I do
Cool.
all day on here.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that is Charlie. But before we actually get to the show, let's get a little housekeeping out of the way. First, you can follow us on Twitter at Pixel Street, or search for us over on Facebook. Our show goes live every Friday on your podcast platform of choice, and you can now become a Pixel Street pal by joining our Discord server. We do a thing called Pixel Street Pal Party Nights, where we try for once a month getting just a group of the community together and play some stuff. What was it last month? We played Jackbox Party Pack. We ran through a bunch of them, and it was a lot of fun. But we've also played Ultimate Werewolf. We've played Among Us, Halo Infinite, or not Infinite. That's not out yet. Just Halo. So be sure.
Don't give away our secrets. We got super insider builds.
We
don't.
got that really.
Cut the
early
copy.
copy.
We gotta get us out of here. We're done.
Oh no.
We're-
Yeah, if you want to join that, check out our pinned tweet on Twitter. We have a link that's always live there to do that. Finally, you can subscribe to our newish YouTube channel, Pixel Street Videos. What did we... Oh, this week I put up a video of my first time ever playing The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim in celebration of...
First time.
Wow.
Okay, so thank you. That face right there was my exact reaction to when John said, "I've never played Skyrim before, any more than like 30 seconds of seeing it on the internet," which I thought was shocking. So,
Well, I kind of explain it at the beginning of the video why that is, because, let's see, it came out in 2011, I think, right?
Yep.
So it was right after
11,
I
11,
graduated
11.
high school. Before that came out, I had played... I got this double disc from GameStop that had BioShock and Oblivion on it. I was like, oh yeah, it's
yeah.
cool, buy that. BioShock I played, went on to become one of my favorite games of all time, one of my favorite series of all time. Oblivion I played, and I just couldn't get into it. I didn't really like it. So I would
if you came to that train late, man, it did not and has not aged well in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, well, that's why I would look at
unfortunately.
Skyrim, and I'm like, I don't want to... I love Fallout.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
I've played Fallout
That's-
4, New Vegas. Even
Yeah.
76 I can get some enjoyment out of. But I play those, and I love them. I love other Bethesda stuff. Yeah, so I started Skyrim. I made a Khajiit named Joel Katpos, in honor of our other co-host Joel Campos.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to check that out, be sure to check out Pixel Street videos on YouTube.
So, just out of curiosity, what did you think?
So I played about an
Skyrim.
hour, and it was kind of tame, kind of a lot of walking around.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I already knew about the beginning, where like you're going in for your execution, Dragon comes in, ruins it, and then after that, it just there wasn't much. So I've got to play more. I've got to put more time into it. It's just.
But you think you're going to play more?
I'll definitely give it a try. Maybe I'll stream that on our YouTube. Just kind of since it's my first experience with it.
I definitely don't want to spend the next hour talking about Skyrim because I've already invested so much of my life into Skyrim. But I do want to say that I think the best parts of Skyrim are hidden in the darkest corners of Skyrim, to be honest with you. So
That's good to know, because I have kind of a similar experience. I didn't play Skyrim
Sure.
until 2017 when it came out on Switch, and I got it the same day as I got Doom, also on Switch, and
And Doom's obviously
played-
the better game.
I would agree with that. I ended up just like not liking Skyrim at all.
sure.
Yeah,
It's one of those you kind of like Oblivion in a way. You kind of had to be there. You know, you had to hop on that train early. So you guys will probably have to wait till the next one to really understand what the whole Elder Scrolls nonsense is about.
Yeah. We'll see. Maybe not. All right. So yeah, let's get on into our main topics today. So starting things off, unless you've been hiding under a rock for the last week, the ZeniMax acquisition by Microsoft is complete. We talked about this last week a bit. We kind of gave our predictions, and our exclusives prediction was immediately proven wrong, Connor. Like we were way
I don't
off.
know, man. I think there's still so much ambiguous language when it comes to the exclusivity stuff that, Phil Spencer's really done a great job of giving them wiggle room. So no matter what they decide to do or don't decide to do, like, I think there's enough gray space where people aren't really going to know what the Xbox plan is. And that's exactly where I want to be. You know, I don't want to understand completely, but I want to kind of know that the path looks good. And that's really what that whole investor call was about, was Phil Spencer saying, hey, we got Bethesda. If you were worried it wasn't going to be on Game Pass, I got fucking news for you. It's going to be on Game Pass because that's how things work around here, much to nobody's surprise. But aside from that, it's still... I think it's too early to call that race, man. I know that, like, our predictions might have been a little off what's coming out, but man, it's proof's in the pudding, and we haven't made it yet. So
yeah. I mean, especially with that Indiana Jones game, like
yeah,
I think that's going to be, because I mean that's pretty much what I would assume would be their furthest out release, right? I mean, it's either that or Elder Scrolls 6, and looking at that and thinking about how kind of different the whole Lucasfilm Games thing has seemingly been in terms of messaging, I would be truly surprised if it ended up being exclusive. Now that said, we've seen Marvel Games do it with Sony and Spider-Man, even though apparently, it came out, like, I think it was like late last year that wasn't really the way that the Sony and Marvel Spider-Man deal actually worked. So I would genuinely be surprised to see Indiana Jones become exclusive, but knowing Microsoft and their willingness to just throw money at things, who knows?
Disney does like
I
that.
think you're right. I mean, it's really it's a case by case basis thing in my mind. Not everything makes sense for exclusivity. Your multiplayer stuff or your longevity video games, your Destiny, loot shooters, that kind of stuff. That's the stuff that you want as many people playing at once as you can possibly cram in those servers. And the way to do that is be multi-platform. But for those big hitting exclusives, the reason you would tell somebody to get into the Xbox platform, I could see either timed exclusivity or some kind of incentive to bring you here, but maybe not necessarily full exclusivity. So man, honestly, I totally forgot about that Indiana Jones game until you brought it up, so I'm glad you reminded me that thing exists. And God, I don't know what would be last? I feel like Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls would probably be the further one out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that game's still way far out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, back onto the Game Pass talk. Since that announcement came out, real quick, I want both of you, just without looking it up or anything, take a guess. How many games were added to Game Pass in the last week?
Are we counting? Or okay, wait.
Not counting EA Play.
Oh, okay, not counting EA Play, and are we? And I'm assuming we're not counting the announcement from today with like Undertale and all those indie games.
Those that's when from today. Was that today? Wow.
Or wait,
what's time?
it might have been. It was
There's
either today
been
or
like
yesterday.
a million
That was
announcements
yesterday.
this week,
That I will
so.
count. But the EA Play come in the PC Game Pass, I'm not counting because those games are already on Game Pass console.
Because a couple of those games like are coming out like later in the
Yeah.
week, but they're still coming out this week, so
But
I don't know.
just a broad guess. How many games were announced to be coming to Game Pass in the last week?
I'm gonna say 8. 8 new games.
No.
It's definitely more than that because I've seen these graphics like 80 times already.
I know, and that's
oh
what
my
I'm
God.
trying to rack in my brain here. The only thing I can think of is the big hitters for it. Are we counting like PC and stuff too for that? Because that's
Just
Xbox
throw out
has
a
treated
number,
that whole
Connor.
situation
Just throw out a
weird.
Connor.
24.
24? Okay. Got anything?
That's
Charlie?
it. Yep.
I'm gonna say like 36 because I mean, shit, the Wolfenstein and Doom games alone make up 10.
He
God, you're right.
You are
I
one
forgot
off.
that-
It is 37.
Oh,
37
my
titles
God.
announced for Game Pass in the last week. 20 of those are Bethesda games. Here, real quick, I have.
I had forgot that whole catalog got added, so I was
Yes.
just thinking about the new stuff. But yeah, that's like you said, Wolfenstein games alone. That's
other
a dumb number.
other notable games that were announced. Octopath Traveler is coming to Xbox and will launch day and date on Game Pass. Outriders, which isn't even out yet, but that's a game coming from Square Enix, is launching day and date. Undertale launched this week
on Xbox, not on PC.
Yeah.
Yeah, for that Outriders.
Yeah, for sure. Undertale, Nier Automata is coming to PC Game Pass. Torchlight 3 is coming to PC Game Pass. Squadrons, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, tons and tons of games. We got NBA 2K21, Madden NFL,
Yakuza 6.
Yakuza 6. Yeah, so many games. We talk a lot on the show about how Game Pass is just the best deal in gaming, and it just
no
continues to get better and better. Also, in those announcements was EA Play is also coming to Game Pass on PC. I think it's only Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds about
So
right.
if you have Game
there
Pass-
was a little weirdness because the EA Play stuff was announced obviously quite some time ago and got delayed for the PC,
Yeah.
and recently a lot of people were asking. So it was kind of a surprise drop. It got pushed back. They never gave a date for it, and then just dropped it on us over the last day or two, which is fantastic. That's a ton of games too, is it not? I mean,
That's
do
a
you
lot.
know how many
I
games?
think it was 40. I think it was
It's
40
a lot of
games,
games.
was the number I remember.
Gosh.
Yep. So yeah, really good time to be a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber.
Oh, yeah.
That is the one subscription I can think of right off the top of my head that I never rethink. Like, it's such a
Yeah.
good deal for $15 a month, man. I absolutely love it.
It's got a lot of great trial routes. I mean, $1 to get 3 months. It is hard to beat that value, and I think it's really a winning formula for Microsoft in terms of their approach to the whole services thing, and they're knocking it out of the park with this. I mean, it's the Bethesda acquisition obviously is a huge thing, and everybody wants to talk exclusives, but I think the important thing to remember on it is that all this stuff is just going to be on that service, and you just don't have to think about it. It's just there. You just play it, and that's it. And I like that they're making it simple. Simplicity brings in your casual customers, which expands your audience and does a lot of great things for your business.
Yeah. Charlie, are you a Game Pass subscriber? Do you have an Xbox at all or anything?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call myself like an early adopter, but I feel like I was hopping on Game Pass like right as it was starting to pick up, with which I think a lot of people who are kind of like really into covering and following the industry did. I think I first subscribed maybe back in like I gotta say July, August, or September of 2019.
Okay.
And I've been subscribed pretty much since then. I think my subscription maybe ran out for like 2 months, and then there was like another deal, and I just hopped right back on. And I feel like every time I renew it, there's some kind of conveniently placed sale, where it's like 3 months is 50% off. Like I think around Black Friday it was like $20 for 3 months at Target, so I just bought like 9 months.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's kind of what I do. I can't even think. My subscription is about to start its monthly payments and everything. And it I never let it get to that because I'm just like you. I buy it when it's on sale. So yeah, I got to do that again here soon. Connor, how can Game Pass get even better to you? Like, what do they need to do? Let's say just the immediate future.
Sure. I think really for me, being a split focus gamer, so somebody who doesn't play specifically on one platform or one place, I think what I'd like to see is some of those PC offerings upped. There's been a large disparity in the platform at which level of service you get depending on platform you have between both mobile, PC, and Xbox. And at first glance, it seems easy, especially if you're just playing on the Xbox, but there's a lot of stuff that isn't on the mobile or isn't on the PC, and I understand that those deals can't always be made for those platforms, but I would love to see them drive a lot more parity between those. That way, when a game hits Game Pass, like, I don't have to guess. I don't have to play that research game and try to figure out what platform that I got to play this on now. Game Pass, like I said, has such a huge focus on simplicity and really removing the guesswork from the equation, which is awesome, but they kind of shot themselves in the foot by having these all three of these platforms that are called the same thing, marketed as the same thing, when really they're not. I mean, it is shocking how different it is between the two. I mean, Outriders, maybe it's a little pedantic to point out every single time that it's not coming to PC, but I think that's an important distinction. Because if Xbox just says, "Oh, Outriders coming to Game Pass," I think that should mean that Outriders is just coming to Game Pass no matter wherever it is. Again, I don't want to have to do that legwork, and I don't think that Xbox should put them in a place put themselves in a place to make people have to play that guesswork. So, better parity, I think, is important. And aside from that, man, I want to see those exclusives start rolling out. I know that. Obviously, they're coming. We're chugging in that direction, but that's really the next step. You've built this audience, you've cultivated these people, you've proven that this service can be blockbuster hit. Now is the time to say we've got Uncharted quality video games, we've got Last of Us quality video games, we've got things up there, and everything in between, right? Like it doesn't have to be just a AAA experience. I want to see that myriad, that rainbow of stuff available on that platform. So, that's my Game Pass wish list. Armchair CEO, that's what you get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I think of man, they just need to keep doing what they're doing, and it's good for me. But
they're really moving in a good direction.
If there's one addition that I really want to see, and it's something that at first I wasn't really big on. But the more and more people talk about it, the more and more I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Is bringing xCloud to PC and console. I would personally not use it much because that just doing it on mobile ran up my my internet usage for the month like a ton when I was doing it. But it's like just a really cool thing to have there for say your game is downloading, but you want to get in right away. So I'm more and more getting in on that idea.
That's such a great idea. I think Google Stadia obviously approached that angle for the entire market, but somebody was maybe one of you guys remember, but somebody just patented a technology to allow you to play the game while it was installing via that same service. So I forget who it is. It's like an Ubisoft or an EA level of company. But I think that's such an interesting thought to say, here, install this, immediately start playing now, because as games sit, you have to install it for typically an hour. I mean, on average internet. I have gigabit service here, so for somebody like me, whatever. I don't really care. But for your average user who doesn't have obscene service or speeds, it would be such a fantastic option. Yeah, you're right. Like you're in the middle of cornfields, in the middle of nowhere. And, it also, I think, what a thought I've had for a while is bringing back demos with that streaming service. Because, sure, open betas and all that are super cool, but I would love just a nice offline demo of something to give me a sampling of whatever the game is so I can try it out before I buy it. And I think game streaming is such a good opportunity for that in that lane. So...
Yeah, and to jump off of what you guys are saying, I know that obviously, Amazon is kind of entering into the market with their own thing, and
they're trying.
Google also has Stadia, but I would love, like we've heard about this so much, but I would love to see smart TVs and streaming sticks start taking this too.
That's another good one. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I can't think of a better way to kind of Trojan horse that, because who doesn't have a streaming device, right? In 2021. And the amount of people who have a streaming device and no consoles, it's got to be a pretty big disparity, especially here in the States. Certainly. And I'm just thinking about how many people there are that have maybe like kids who are in that perfect age range where they want to play Minecraft, right? Or Among Us or Fall Guys, or those kinds of games that are like super popular with streamers right now. And you could totally see, even if it's just a limited release, even more limited than mobile even, where like maybe even they partner with Epic and they get Fortnite, Minecraft, Among Us, some of these more like kind of zeitgeisty games, and then you just buy an Xbox controller, Game Pass Ultimate for like $15 a month, throw that onto the subscription service fee pile that you inevitably are going to have if you have a streaming stick, and let little Timmy play Minecraft.
Yeah, no.
I think that's a great angle. It's it reminded me that I'm recalling a bunch of random information, but I promise it's stuff I've heard. I'm not crazy. I might be. I don't know. Sure. Xbox talked probably about a year ago about doing some kind of streaming stick.
There was like
similar to the Stadia.
Maybe.
They said that they were like looking into it or something. But I think that's that idea right there, Charlie. To be honest with you, bring that access widestream or mainstream and just make it easy. Again, just plug and play. And not everybody's going to want to buy that Xbox, but if you say, hey, you can buy a $25 stick, plug it into your TV, use an Xbox controller that maybe your neighbor already has, and you're playing Xbox games, I think that's such a awesome argument for why the Xbox ecosystem is looking good right now.
Running off that, even though, is like it. The streaming stick, yes, go ahead with it. But like you could even like go in with an idea that a lot of people had for like the Nintendo Switch, where you like have an app for it. I don't think it's ever going to happen on Switch, but if you could make a deal with Samsung to like include an Xbox app in all smart TVs, so you just have access to it right there. Sorry, Charlie.
Yeah, especially now that. Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I wonder how that would go, because I mean, people don't know Xbox as a brand as well as they do Microsoft, right? And so you see Amazon and Google with their own proprietary thing, and who's left? Roku. I mean, if Xbox goes into the streaming stick game, or if Microsoft does, I guess, they need to figure out a way to either partner with... they either need to find a way to partner with someone like Roku or Samsung, or they need to have a whole new brand, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see, it being I think a partnership, is probably the most likely path on something like that. I think if you're starting to fight in the dedicated hardware market, you start to kind of run into the same issue that Google did with their Chrome sticks and whatnot, where Stadia didn't really work in the whole browser thing for a while, and you're kind of competing install bases there. So I think kind of running both paths and giving like that browser option, which hopefully comes to iPhone soon. I would love to be able to actually do that stuff on my phone. But yeah, either way, I think Xbox is, again, moving in the right direction. They're making some great choices. And yeah, Game Pass is looking better than ever. And I think I'm paid up till middle of next year, and I'll probably renew it again.
Yeah, nice.
All right, great discussion there. Game Pass is definitely looking hot and looking to stay hot. Kind of just sticking on the Xbox topic. A bit ago, crap, I should have gotten the name. Some guy with Xbox. It wasn't Phil Spencer, but he came out and said, hey, yeah, no, there's more Xbox games coming this year that haven't been announced yet. So, this is going to be an easy topic. Let's get to predicting what Xbox game that we don't know about yet is coming in 2021. Does anyone have like anything off the top of their head? Because I already got one.
Go for it.
Banjo-Kazooie, he's coming back. The Bird and Bear is back. They looked at Super Smash Brothers and like, yes, the people want this. We're bringing them back, baby. It's all I want.
I would love another Banjo-Kazooie, but I don't think it'll ever happen.
It's happening.
Unfortunately.
I can believe.
No.
I have a dream, Connor, and it's to see Banjo and Kazooie come back for real.
I think your closest way you're going to get is that Easter egg in Division 2, man. I think that's all you're
I was
getting.
losing my mind at that.
I know.
Wait,
it's
in
a
Division in a Ubisoft game?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
in Division 2, in one of the expansions, you can go behind a little like snack shack.
It's in the zoo.
Yeah, and there's a stuffed bear with a backpack on, and there's a red bird. I think it's like a parrot that's like sticking out of it, and the bear's holding a banjo. It's like right on, and you're like, okay, yeah. I see what you did there.
That's Banjo-Kazooie.
Yes.
Yeah, it's real cool. Oh man, I've got nothing right now. I'm gonna have to think about it. Charlie, what do you
fact that they haven't announced it yet means it's not a giant thing like Fable, like Perfect Dark, or anything. And so it's gonna be a smaller thing. That's why I think a Banjo-Kazooie remake is what's coming.
Yeah, but Rare's been locked in a basement for like 6 years now.
See, that's the thing, though. It doesn't have to be
But
Rare
they
working
did
on
Sea
it.
of they did Sea of Thieves and Everwild though. Like I feel like
true.
they have things to answer for.
But that's the thing. It
Also,
doesn't have to be Rare. You look at Battletoads, which is a Rare property. They gave that off to DLA Studios.
Well, Rare worked on it too though.
Did they? But you got Perfect Dark being worked on by the Initiative, which I'm sure probably Rare is helping as well. So I'm just saying Rare doesn't have to be the main studio working on it. My dream right now is Playtonic doing a remake of it, because those are Banjo-Kazooie developers, the guys that made Yooka-Laylee.
So I've had this conversation a lot. I've barely had any time with either Banjo-Kazooie game. Or I guess I'm not including.
No, there's only two.
Like
there's only
two.
two.
Totally different. But I think for me, going back, I'm someone who I started playing games on the DS and the Wii. So I kind of missed the magic of like what made Banjo-Kazooie so great, and so going back, I don't really feel like the love that a lot of people that I know, even friends who are younger than me, grew up playing that game. But I don't have that context for it, and so I'd be really interested to see someone who isn't connected to Rare whatsoever take it on. I know I'm pretty sure Microsoft owns the developer of Super Lucky's Tale, and I've heard a ton of good things about that game, especially the newest version of it.
It's pretty good. I played it recently.
And I'd really be interested in seeing how that studio handles Banjo-Kazooie.
That would be
because I never played Yooka-Laylee, but I know that while a lot of people loved it, I think that there was a lot of kind of contention between a lot of people where they were like, it's basically just the first Banjo-Kazooie in a lot of ways again. And so I think I'd love to see that series like evolve again. And not in a nuts and bolts way, but in like
we don't talk about nuts and bolts here.
Let's go back to basics. Let's go back to platforming, but let's also do ideas with new people, probably with people who've grown up with this series, right? I mean, the Lucky's Tale studio, I would assume, is relatively new because I think they've I think I've only heard their name when talking about Super Lucky's Tale.
They're newish. Their first title was actually, I think it's just called Lucky's Tale, and it was an Oculus game.
Yeah.
Yep. They are not owned by Microsoft, but yeah,
Playful
they
Studios.
do that. It's a very kid-friendly game, very easy and everything. So they might be able to handle a Banjo-Kazooie remake. I don't think it's a good time to go to Banjo 3 yet. I think you do the remake of the first game because that is the one that is most loved. Even Banjo 2E, which is a very good game in its own right, it's not as much loved as Banjo-Kazooie. And then you have the Game Boy games and the Devil and Nuts and Bolts and everything. You ignore those. You just start where everything began, and if people love that, go to 3.
Right.
Yeah. If there's anything else that hasn't been announced yet that is coming this year, I don't know what it is.
I'm trying to think.
Because we already know.
Has Forza been confirmed? Yes. To not be this year?
Not this year. It's just confirmed that it's coming. So it's not. I mean, it's already announced. He specifically said something unannounced is coming. So that's where I'm like, because there's so many things that have been announced. Because we've got Forza,
right.
We've got Perfect Dark.
When you think about the big Xbox franchises that have existed up to this point, and I mean, Gears of War obviously just had a game drop. Halo Infinite's obviously confirmed. Perfect Dark is something that is far, far off, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. And obviously that is an announced title.
Same with Fable.
Forza obviously announced. Fable announced. So really, I mean, I can't.
There's got to be some spin-off in there. It wouldn't be from Ninja Theory. Ninja Theory has 3 games that announced right now.
Yep.
A good one would be Compulsion Games, the makers of We Happy Few. They haven't had anything for a while. So there's definitely there's stuff there.
Well, there's also Bethesda too.
Oh yeah.
Bethesda's I think it's too early
party,
to call
guys.
that stuff. Yeah.
What does Bethesda
I think it's too early
have?
to call that stuff part of it, though.
Well, I think they passed on E3 this last. Well,
that's right.
E3. They passed on doing anything around E3, right?
Yeah.
They put out Doom Eternal earlier last year.
Oh, baby.
A new DLC is coming out soon.
Tomorrow.
But aside from that, we don't know anything. And honestly,
the only games we know from Bethesda, sorry to cut you off again, Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6. Mm-hmm. I can't think of any other thing that's been announced.
Yeah, I almost wonder if it's either Starfield or Wolfenstein 3.
Well, Starfield's been announced, so it wouldn't be that. But I do think Starfield is coming this year. I think that's a great contender for this fall.
Yeah, I think Starfield's probably not far off at all.
Mm-hmm.
Wolfenstein, I don't know. That's a tough one because we just had those 2 spin-off games.
Right.
That was 2 years ago now, though.
Yeah,
That's
that was
true.
2 years ago,
Yeah.
and from my understanding, both of those are relatively small experiences.
Yes.
Yeah.
One was a VR
It could
game.
be possible.
So, that one was kind of a throwaway thing, I think. Trying to think. Arcane has Deathloop coming out.
Sorry to interrupt, but actually just thinking about Machine Games for a sec. I mean, if they just announced that Indiana Jones game,
that's right. They're the ones
working on something else.
I forgot
If
about
that would suggest they probably have 2 studios. I could see Cyber Pilot and Youngblood.
Youngblood.
And Youngblood being kind of like the B team, and then Wolfenstein 3 being the A team.
Sure. Yeah.
No, it makes sense.
Gosh,
or vice
versa.
Wolfenstein
would be awesome. The last couple Wolfensteins have been just incredible, fantastic video games for what they are, which is cool.
Yeah. How long has it been since a Quake game came out?
Oh my god.
Not long. Okay, not long. Quake
2016?
Champions came out and it was a flop and they fucking killed it. Okay, rest in peace, my man. Quake Champions, because you were gone too soon. It was probably 2016.
Okay.
That sounds right.
It was a free to play
I think a
venture.
new Quake game like an exclusive small experience
See,
that you just throw on.
I would
Game
like
Pass.
to see it, but I think after Champions, I think they don't touch that property for a long
Well,
time.
I also think it's something that you like. It's just a small thing. Like, okay, yep,
Sure.
it could be a free multiplayer game for all I care.
Yeah.
But even ignoring whether or not, or what the status of the Quake franchise, there's another big ass multiplayer first person shooter that Microsoft really, really needs to succeed and kill it in the market. And I don't think putting out Quake anytime this year, I suppose like past like maybe like anytime past August, I feel like is a bad idea
Because
you want to you need to focus on Halo. You need to focus on Halo because I mean, Quake to me, I think of the PC market especially when I think of that, and obviously. You know, there's been such a push to get Halo big on PC, and I've seen so many of my friends who prefer to play on PC, you know, going over to Reach, Halo 3, Halo 2 even, and kind of really, really loving that series for the first time. And so I think, you know, maybe steering clear of that because Quake might kind of draw away, even if it's a small amount, but it might draw away from Halo, especially because Halo Infinite multiplayer is going to be free to play, or at least separate from the campaign.
Yeah. All right. Well, who knows what that unannounced games are, but
I'll be up all night thinking about it.
me too. All right. Now we're gonna jump into some more speculation talk because hey, there's only so much news this week. Nintendo Switch Pro, new Nintendo Switch, whatever you want to call it, the upgrade for the Nintendo Switch. It seems all but confirmed, but Nintendo's still denying it. But everyone else says that it's coming. I know Joel and Connor talked about this a little bit last week, but I wasn't on there, and I want to talk about Switch. So, Charlie, I just want to start off with you. If you saw, if there was a new Nintendo Switch, an upgrade announced this year, what do you want to see from it? Like, what would, what would you be like? Oh yes, I have to buy that over what I have now.
So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking exactly a lot of, like, pretty much, this is going to start to sound a little bit like some of the leaks or rumors or whatever we started seeing, like, early-ish last week. But I want to see 720p screen. I want to see no bezel. I want to see OLED. I want to see the same size Joy-Cons, but a redesign to them so that we don't have drift.
Give me an actual
That said,
Give me an actual D-pad. Give me an actual D-pad.
Yes. There's
Other
a
than
third-party
drift,
one
I
that
think-
has an actual D-pad.
I mean, other than drift, I think the Joy-Cons might be like some of my favorite controllers ever. I personally really like them. I know that the lack of the D-pad is super annoying, but I think that their design and form factor is just pure brilliance. It's just like Nintendo being at their best in terms of just like design philosophy in a lot of ways. And so I want to see a focus on kind of that love for hardware, but this time getting it right. You know, getting the D-pad, maybe even selling an attachment that you put onto the buttons to make it into a D-pad. I want to see no drift Joy-Cons. I want to see handle grips that don't suck. Or not handle grips, but the things that you like slide on when you just want to play with the Joy-Con sideways. I want to see versions of those that aren't going to make people need to get like a knife to jam it out of there. And I also want to see. I don't even necessarily care about 4K output, or 4K output for games, but I do think seeing the ability to reach 4K output for streaming is something that would probably be. I feel like that's just a base level expectation at this point. I mean, if Chromecast and stuff like that are able to do it, I feel like seeing a Switch Pro do that would also be solid. But then from the actual like specs of it, I think. I honestly hope it's like, I'll be happy if it's between a PS4 and a PS4 Pro for me. Mm-hmm. And I also want to see like a big game launch with it. I want to see like a Metroid Prime 4 or Breath of the Wild 2.
Breath 2, yeah. It's got to be. I mean,
that's the dream,
that
isn't
would
it?
be it would be the smart thing to do if you want to sell some new hardware. Yeah, I think you hit a lot of it on the head for what we talked about last week. It's just got to make sense. I think that is maybe the most important part of the entire conversation, is that it has to make sense. It's got to make sense for people that already have a Switch. It's got to make sense for people that don't have a Switch and are considering buying one. Whether they phase out the current model and don't support that one anymore and use the current or whatever it is, it's just got to make sense. So yeah, I think no bezel is probably on the top of my list because I hate that Switch bezel. It's miserable.
I never thought about it until like the last week, until someone pointed out just how much of a bezel there is.
It's huge,
Yeah, it's
man.
a lot.
It is.
I think I remember reading somewhere that like if they got rid of the bezel, it would be like a 70 to 100% screen size increase for the
It's a
base Switch
lot.
model. It's a big increase.
Yeah,
One of the things. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
good.
you guys, but one of the things that I did want to say is I want a competitive price.
Yeah.
Nintendo never ever sells their hardware at a loss, at least at first. And I think that's one of the reasons why things like the Wii U did badly, on top of a bad name and bad marketing.
And just a bad console.
And so I think if we see a Switch Pro launch at $400 or less, I think that's what it needs to do to succeed.
I think it's got to be 300.
Yeah.
Because I don't see a world where Nintendo phases out the current Switch model. It's doing too well, and frankly, too many people have bought it too recently for them to do that.
I think
because we are in only year 4.
I think they completely replace it with this Switch Pro, because we're hearing there was a report coming out that the chipset or whatever that is in the Switch is being phased out this year. So yeah, they'll still keep selling it and everything, but I think this new Switch model is just gonna replace what we have now. They'll still be selling what we have now until they run out, but I think you finally see a price drop on it to like maybe 200, and then I would imagine the Switch Lite drop as well, and then you put this in at 300, and then going forward, it's kind of like the 3DS and the new 3DS thing, where after a while they just completely focused on the new Nintendo 3DS. For me, what I want to see, I'm all aboard the bezel thing.
Beelzebub. What?
The drift issue. I tweeted about it this week. All of my Joy-Con have drift issues, and I'm so tired of it. I even playing Animal Crossing like I've been doing lately. I'll like just try and move like up in my island, and he'll just be walking slowly because he wants to move down and everything. I'm just so tired of it. It ruins Smash. It ruins Mario Kart for me. Well, okay, it doesn't really ruin Mario Kart, but whatever. I'm upset with it, and I'm tired of it. I really hope these Zelda Joy-Con later this year are better. But
they're fixing them for free still, right?
Yes, they are. Yeah.
You gotta ship it in, and then you gotta wait weeks to get it back.
I have done it. I did it with my daughter's Joy-Con, and it took a while, but we also I think I did it like right before the pandemic started, and and right then they like hit a spot where they had to stop production and everything because everything was getting closed down. Nintendo, just fix the drift. Everyone's saying it's an issue except for you. Just fix it,
right?
Please.
Right.
I'm pretty sure the only reason why they're not doing it is for legal reasons. Like, I mean, they literally have they have a tip line and they're fixing them for free. What else do you need to say that this is a serious problem?
Yeah, the only reason,
man.
They won't say anything about it specifically being an issue, because if they do, it opens them to legal liability. If they say we recognize this as a problem, then that's total cause for any kind
But
of
over
class
4
action
years,
lawsuit or
they
anything.
haven't just fixed the
I know.
Joy-Con they're making.
I know. It's the same thing. Yeah, it's wild that they continue it, which is a bummer, because I think Nintendo has always been the best at peripherals in a way that other
definitely
companies
put them
haven't
out.
been.
Hello, Wii.
Right? Yeah, that's fair. We Fit
I wonder
Board,
if I
shout
have
out.
my Splatoon headset somewhere around here.
Yeah,
to
72
combat
different
that.
Pro
Look under your
controllers.
couch.
Oh my
There's
God.
probably a balance board there.
Oh man, yeah.
GameCube adapter right here.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, I think that is a good spot to cut off on our main topics. Let's hop into the quick news here.
Quick news.
Right off the bat, today, 10 PS4 games were announced, including Horizon Zero Dawn, that will be free on PS4 and PS5 very soon. Connor, you have that list up?
I do. So just rattling these off because it's quick news and I can. Abzu, Enter the Gungeon, Res Infinite, Subnautica, The Witness, Astrobot Rescue Mission, Moss, thumper paper beast, and that is all of it. So, and then a Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition. But if you haven't played it at this point, are you going to play it?
I'm just surprised it took them so long.
Maybe.
I'm gonna play it. I haven't played it.
I never had a PlayStation until 2019, so...
Sure.
I
Okay.
actually have a disc version of Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition that it was installed on my PS4 and everything. I just never played it because I had other things
my
to focus
God.
on. And
I have started that game no less than 7 times.
my PS5 is a digital edition, so I can't use it on that.
Oh.
And they haven't had it downloadable yet, but they've had like God of War and everything that I've already played. So I'm excited that they're finally announcing this. Next up, Jade Raymond's new studio is called Haven, and they are working on a PlayStation title. They didn't say what it was or if it will always be a PlayStation exclusive, but that's kind of the way I read this. This was being made directly as a PS exclusive, but who knows? She's just coming out of the Stadia thing, so this game is really far out. No idea.
What I want to know is, do you think that Jade Raymond ever gets another video game out ever again?
This
Because
one.
the song and dance
This one she will.
is getting a little old.
This one I
at
think
this
she
point.
I mean,
I hope
even that
so, man.
statement that she released was just like... It was just so clear that she was so tired of not being able to
Right.
put out
She's
a game.
had a lot of bad luck.
I feel for her. Yeah,
I don't
her
even know
and,
if I've ever
Amy
played a
Hennig.
Jade Raymond game.
Assassin's Creed.
Oh, you certainly, yeah.
No,
Assassin's
I've
Creed
never
1.
played Assassin's
What?
Creed.
Assassin's Creed 2.
Nope, I've never played any
Splinter Cell
Assassin's
Blacklist.
Creed game.
Watch Dogs.
I've played like 2 Ubisoft games, and
Far
one of
Cry
them was Just
4.
Dance.
Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Oh, really? She worked
Yep.
on that? Oh, yeah,
Ding,
that's
ding,
a great
ding.
game.
We have a winner. Metal Gear Solid 4.
I've only played 5 and 1.
Yeah. Metal Gear's incoherent anyway. Let's move on. I'm going to get internet hate for that.
Activision have laid off 190 employees, all while the CEO received a $200 million bonus. It's Activision being Activision.
Yeah, so this, I do want to point out, it seems like every now and then we have this same exact story with one of 3 CEOs in the video game industry, and I'm sick of hearing about it, number one. Number two, I just wanted to, so I added the $200 million bonus because investors have actually published a letter to Activision expressing their displeasure, let's say, at the fact that he's receiving a $200 million bonus. They're cutting nearly 200 employees, and this is in addition, mind you, to Bobby Kotick that's the CEO of Activision Blizzard. He already receives a $30 million a year salary from the company, and he just received $200 million more on top of it when they've cut 200 employees. What was it, 2 years ago? They cut 900 employees.
800, but
you know, 800
in a year
it's
that
the same thing.
they turned a profit and everything.
A record profit.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's the same old song and dance, and to be frank, it's capitalism.
Yep.
And it sucks, and yeah, it's a bummer, man. Especially because there's, I'm sure, just phenomenal talent that's coming out of that company. You know, they've got money to pay for some of the best, and they're probably using up and beating up some people that could be the next generation of game designers. You know. And it's going to have a lot more impact in the industry than just, oh, well, we're screwing over interns and stuff. Who cares? I've got a second yacht.
Yeah, it's scummy. Real quick before we move on, I actually forgot the shout out. Holden DePardo had some stuff to say on the Switch Pro discussion. I had it pulled up. I just forgot to mention it. He said, if it has meaningful improvements to battery life, I might consider getting one. Other than that, I'm not expecting too much. It's probably going to be a marginal update that replaces the current Switch, kind of like new Nintendo 3DS. Thank you, Holden. I love you.
I think that's sensible. Yeah.
Yep. All right. But yeah, thanks for reaching out. Okay, moving on in quick news. Rockstar rewarded a modder $10,000 for a fix to their online loading issue in Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah. This was an interesting story. Did you guys read this?
I only saw the title.
Okay, so the premise of this is...
I'm a journalist.
So have you guys played a little video game called Grand Theft Auto 5?
Never heard of it.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
There's a Grand Theft Auto 5?
Shut up. Get
I
out
only
of
know
here.
Vice City. The best
Have you
one.
heard of Grand Theft Auto 5's loading times?
No, because I would still be sitting here waiting for it to load.
That's the joke. They're terrible. They're absolutely horrible. The game loads miserably, even if you're on PC with high-end hardware.
So-
It's go ahead.
Sorry, is that only a thing for online? Because I remember I played GTA 5 this year for the first time.
Sure. Single player isn't as bad, yeah, but you're not
Okay.
connecting to online servers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The online is notorious for being something that takes
And the more
10,
updates
15
that they
minutes
put
for
out,
you to
the
get in
worse
the
it
lobby.
gets.
Right, it just continued to be an issue. So a modder took it upon himself to say, hey, I think that I can look in this code and probably make some improvements here. And they released a mod on PC which improved load times on the PC platform specifically drastically. I mean, we're talking about cutting 5-6 minutes at least from load times for a lot of
It's
players.
bad.
So
Oh my God.
right, I mean, it is a huge thing. So Rockstar, doing a cool thing, said instead of suing you, which is probably what would happen in today's industry
Nintendo.
normally.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
thank
gonna
you.
say the
Yes,
same thing.
Nintendo, we're looking at you.
Bring back
They
Game
actually
2R.
talked to him about it. They sat down, had a conversation. They awarded him $10,000 for doing it, and it's actually rolling out in their next official patch for the game. So the findings that he had out there. This isn't unheard of in the industry. I mean, a lot of large internet companies have bug hunter bounties, which is if you can find some way to compromise their website or get in, if you notify them and show them how
Or sometimes
to
they'll just
replicate
hire
that
you.
same thing, so they. Right, exactly. If you can replicate that, they'll pay out whatever amount of money for it. But it's cool to see this. I think the modding community in video games, especially, is wildly creative. You consider the fact that PUBG was just an Arma mod back in the day, and now it's gonna have a second video game that I still know nothing about. Yeah, that whole thing's weird, but yeah, good on Rockstar for making cool moves here.
Yeah.
And please bring this to console because I don't want to wait 20
I
minutes
would
to play your
figure that they
video
would.
game.
I mean, I'm not playing Grand Theft Auto 5 anytime soon, but that would still be a cool thing.
Yeah, I've bought it like 4 times already, and there's another edition coming out now for the new gen. I hate it. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Well, they're
Move on.
at least for this one, they're adding new story content for the next gen stuff.
fair, yeah, which they were supposed to do with the original one.
Moving on, Halo Infinite will not have dual wielding or playable elites. This came in a recent community Q&A that I watched. Really cool stuff. They really went. They took like a deep dive explaining everything. Mostly dual wielding and playable elites are a thing from like Halo 2 and 3. 3 is the best Halo. Don't at me.
It's,
No.
it's
Yeah, it's number 2, baby. Whatever.
Whatever.
okay.
You could
Wait,
be
wait,
wrong,
wait,
but
wait,
it's
wait,
fine.
wait. Wait. I'm sorry. Do you guys mean campaign or multiplayer?
I'm just talking
That's a
about
very
God.
important
best
distinction.
campaign, best multiplayer.
'cause-
It's all in 3, baby.
As I played them all last year for the first time, I hated Halo 2's campaign. Story was awesome, music was awesome, everything in it was awesome except for playing the game. That campaign,
Halo
I
2
hated
is overrated.
It's a
so much.
slow game.
Thank you.
Well, Halo
No.
1's slow too, but it didn't make me want to rip my hair out.
Yeah.
But I also tried to use that as a way to shoehorn myself into this. I think dual wielding in Halo is super weird, and it's handled very inconsistently across the games in terms of how it feels in multiplayer. And I think it feels kind of bad in Halo 2, and it feels okay in Halo 3. So this is a change that I like. But I know this is my first Halo game was also Halo.
Well,
4,
it
so.
hasn't been around since Halo 3. They kind of it was a community question, and they kind of went in and they're like, hey, yeah, we're not planning on it right now, but Halo Infinite will be a live service game. So they said never say never and everything. If people want
Right.
it, we'll put it in. But
I'd love to see a game mode with it too, like where
Yeah.
it's on where like they add that stuff in
Yeah.
there.
but what they're focusing on right now is what they have, making sure it's the best at what they're doing right now. I'm also glad that elites aren't playable because that was such bullshit in Halo 3 multiplayer. Trying to shoot someone from behind and their head was like scrunched down. That sucked.
Tough hitboxes.
All right, final quick news thing. The Mortal Kombat movie avoided green screen as much as possible. So, yeah, here you go. It looks like they're going for practical environments and everything. They actually ripped the hearts out of their actors and everything, lit them on fire and everything. Is really cool
All
stuff.
actors were harmed in the
Toasty.
making
Yeah,
of this
all
movie.
of them were harmed.
Every single, if you saw them on screen, they're in the hospital right now. Donate to our GoFundMe.
They survived, but not well.
Yeah. Except for the ones that didn't.
Yes. All right.
That trailer looks fucking sweet,
looks
man.
so
That trailer
I
was
gotta
so
say,
good.
I want it.
Yeah, it's rad. I'm gonna watch the hell out of this movie. I love the originals, honestly.
We should do a watch party
Even
when it comes
the
out.
ones. Yes, please.
That's
man,
that's next month, right?
Is it next month?
April, isn't it?
It's
yeah.
soon. I thought it was April, but I could be mistaken on that.
All I can think about anymore is Guilty Gear Strive, so I relate everything to Guilty Gear Strive because I can't wait. So, yeah.
April 16th. Yes, next month.
Wow.
Oh my God, that's less than a month.
Oh, baby. I'm so excited for that.
Let's go.
Okay.
Man, HBO Max is killing it. Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
they are.
You're right.
All right. So, yep. Now let's talk about what we've been playing. I'll start off since I think I have a little more to say than anyone else. First off, I've been playing Super Mario Odyssey again. Recently, I watched Joel stream that, and it got that itch in me to go back and play it. I've had that with Breath of the Wild too, but I can't go back to Breath of the Wild because if I do, I won't play anything else. And I have to stop myself all the time.
Yep.
But also I've been playing more Animal Crossing, working on getting all the Mario items and everything. I'm actually working on making my island presentable. Our friend of the show, Holden DePardo from Respawn Aimfire, me and Joel joke a lot about how he's in what he calls phase 4 of his island. That's how serious he is about his Animal Crossing island. So maybe I'll start phase 1 and I'll invite him over and see what he thinks, and he can shit on all my ideas. Other than that, I played Stubbs the Zombie, which is an original Xbox game from 2005 that was re-released on Tuesday of this week. And I sat down, played it, covered some guides. Check out GamePro.com for all that stuff. I do not like this re-release at all.
Man, okay, so listen, I have bottled this up and held this in. Stubbs the Zombie is one of my favorite video games.
Hold on. Before you go on,
all time.
I will say
I need to have you on cover food to talk about Stubbs the Zombie.
I like the
very
game. I don't like the re-release. They did nothing to fix any issues. It looks like an original Xbox game still that you have to buy for $20. If you have the original disc, the original Xbox disc, it is not backwards compatible. This is a cash grab. I do not like it. Since everything is bloated out and everything, the text is all fuzzy and pixelated. The hit detection is awful in the game. All you do the entire game is eat people's brains, and that is it.
Yeah.
This is an embarrassing game to release in 2021. I will say, if I played it originally, I would love it. I liked the humor in it. I laughed, and I enjoyed it. But over my 5 hours of playing it, by the end, I was like, I do not like the way that they handled this at all.
That's such a bummer. Stubbs the Zombie... to set the scene, are you familiar with Stubbs the Zombie at all, Charlie? So
I've heard it joked about in like various podcasts and stuff, like for years and years and years, but I don't think I'd ever seen any gameplay or even knew what console it first came out on until
it was totally like a B-rate video game. It was not a AAA production. But it was made kind of an underground team. Developers. Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, it had some pedigree in terms of its relationship with who made it. And what we got out of that video game is you play as Stubbs, who is a very cross guy who comes back to life as a zombie, or comes back to dead. I don't know how you would phrase that. And his mission is just to basically make more zombies. Except Stubbs is in love, and you're trying to court your love interest while also turning the entire city into zombies. So you get all these like wacky, crazy power-ups. You can throw your spleen at people, and it's a grenade. You can roll your head on the ground like a bowling ball to knock people down, and that also just explodes. Do all kinds of. Yeah, you've got fart jumps. I mean, there is a lot of ridiculous, wacky nonsense in this video game, and to be honest, it probably shouldn't have existed, but I'm glad that it did because it gave us the best, and I'm saying it right now, okay, maybe not one of the best, top 10 for sure, one of the best soundtracks for a video game for all time, because what they did is they got a bunch of current artists. Yeah, pull it up, please, because I will champion this shit to the day I die. I swear to God.
That was the other thing
In
that I
the
saw
re-release,
about this game. I saw someone talk about it on Twitter.
There are multiple levels where there's no music at all.
So I was worried about that licensing because what they did is they took a bunch of popular artists like Def Cab for Cutie at the time and had them re-record old songs from the 50s and 60s. And really kind of give them that old school feel with a modern twist at the same time, just better recording and whatnot. And what you got was genuinely one of the best soundtracks of all time. I mean, Death Cab for Cutie's cover of God, what is the name of this? I'm gonna pull up the soundtrack right now.
As you play through the re-release, the game just goes silent. Like you just don't hear anything except for like you stumbling across, and then you'll hear like someone like yell at you and everything.
That's such a bummer.
Like all they had to do was make the game backwards compatible. Like that's all they had to do, and they didn't. The only addition they made to this game is achievements in 60 frames per second.
I was going to say, with the magic that Xbox has been pulling off on that backwards compatible stuff for years, you easily could have just had an Xbox One X enhanced
like
video
Destroy
game,
All Humans. Destroy All Humans has an
amazing
remake, but they still brought the original game back for people to do. That's all they had to do.
Yeah.
Like, if they made this a remaster, I would have liked it so much better. But what is there now is not great. I actually wrote up an article today that's in the editing right now about how this is one of the worst re-releases. It's the worst kind of re-release. The gameplay is fine and everything. We're not talking like a Silent Hill or Sonic the Hedgehog
horrible
on Game Boy Advance kind of thing. But
it's just disrespectful to the original.
It very much is. It's disrespectful to people. I don't know who this game is for because it looks ugly and it doesn't play well. So you're not going to bring in. You're not going to bring in new fans.
If the soundtrack's missing, I mean, that was one of the things that made the original game so incredible. Earth Angel, which was covered by Def Cab for Cutie for that compilation specifically, was actually in my wedding. It's such an important song to me. And the fact that they didn't do right by this really is a bummer. I guess I should have expected it. It really was a B-rate thing for its time, and it's totally a B-rate thing now. Yeah. But yeah, listen to that soundtrack if you get a chance to. It's very, very good. It sucks the remaster is bad. I've got to go. I need to go light like some torches and grab some pitchforks because I've got people to yell at. So.
No, that's the thing though. It's not a bad game. I like it. I like playing it, but it could have been so much better. I'm just frustrated with it, I guess I should say. It's only $20, so if you have a Switch or something, I don't know how well it runs there. I played it on my Series X.
There's no way it runs badly on a Switch, right? I
mean,
given how lazy it seemingly is, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. But
it's a pretty old video game, so
2005.
I would hope it runs on anything.
Yeah.
At this point.
All right, Charlie, you been playing anything?
Yeah. So I had COVID recently, and that kind of means that me and my roommates and everyone that I lived with was kind of just like we were trying to like avoid each other at all costs. But I share a bedroom with someone. I'm living that college life, so it's kind of hard to do right now. Obviously, it's a quarantine from the people that you live with. So we kind of all just started playing Danganronpa together, just the first one.
Oh, okay.
And we are currently at the very beginning of the last chapter, and things are about to go crazy. I don't know what's about to happen. Like I might check back in like 2 weeks or something and just be like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. Because honestly, like I don't know, have either of you guys played it before?
I've never played it. I watch Game Grumps though on YouTube, and they recently did a playthrough of it, so I watched it on there.
And yeah, I'm just like ready for something absolutely ridiculous to happen. But I've been playing that. Obviously, I'm literally always playing Smash. I feel like I'm a competitive Smash player, and I live with other people who play at a somewhat competitive level too. So always playing.
So
always
are you one of
kind
those people
stuff.
that's totally against the items?
I'm not totally against them.
Oh.
I actually do have fun playing with them. But in terms of like competitive tournament play, I think items are a nuisance.
Oh yeah, if
like,
you're competitive in there, I know people
right.
that even if you're like playing with friends, just like a party kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing, they are totally against items in Smash, and I just don't agree with that.
That's something that I kind of waver back and forth between, honestly, because like, you know, like if I'm playing with a bunch of friends and there are like 8 people on the screen, the last thing I need is like Groudon to come in and just like murder everyone.
That's what I do want.
But
though.
I think
More
it comes and
chaos.
goes. Like I think it's awesome and funny, and like the chaos there is definitely good. But I also love those moments when like you're at the end of a free for all and you're like one of 2 people left, and you do something crazy and the whole room pops off. Like that's one of my favorite things, honestly, about playing Smash. Is just that kind of communal experience, and I think yeah, I just love it. But then I've also started Wolfenstein. Oh God, man, I forget the title. There's so many
New
of them.
Colossus?
I think it's the New Order. No, New Colossus
New Order.
is the only one that I've played. It is my favorite first-person shooter campaign probably ever. But New Order is a little disappointing so far.
Is that like
compared to New Colossus?
the DLC spinoff thing that they had, or is that the first one?
I think that's the first one. Is
New Order,
The
I
New
thought
Blood
was
is
the
what I'm
first
thinking of.
Bethesda
New
Machine
Blood.
games.
New Blood
yeah, I
is
think
the other.
New
Yeah,
Blood.
and then the Colossus one is 2.
New
right?
Colossus is Wolfenstein
Yeah.
2, and that one,
Yes.
I mean, that one,
Two
like
things.
I played that on Switch, and I honestly prefer the way that plays compared to the way that Wolfenstein 1 plays on an Xbox or a PC. Wolfenstein 2 is just like such a great game. I think
It's much
but
smoother.
yeah,
I need
yeah,
to get
it is
that as
definitely a lot
first, though.
smoother. Definitely recommend it. But yeah, Wolfenstein 1, I'm not super far in, but it just feels a little off. But I'm still really enjoying it. I just like the world, and I kind of like the idea of just like killing a bunch of Nazis, obviously. So
Sounds like a good time. I'm
It's
into
great.
it.
Connor, what you
Who's your? I have to ask.
Oh,
who's
sorry.
your Smash main?
okay, so I play Samus mostly, but if I'm like in a bracket or something, I can play Samus, Captain Falcon, Rob, and then like I know I'm forgetting I know I'm forgetting a couple characters. But like because I haven't competed in so long, I'm just like playing with my roommates. So I'll pick like recently my Bowser Jr.'s gotten really good for no reason, but like I really love playing him. So who knows? Maybe I'll pull him out next time I'm in bracket.
Do what you love, man. I'm into
Yeah,
it.
but-
I have.
but
the
Samus
last
is
couple
number
times I've played some Smash. I have leaned super heavily towards Byleth in the new fighter passes for Ultimate. I think
more
Byleth
like
is.
Baylith, right?
You're yes, 110%. Yes, sweep me off my feet, take me home. Yeah, no, that's great.
about that
I guess it's my turn,
Banjo-Kazooie,
isn't it? I need
and
to
Young Link.
talk about video games. What did you say to me?
Banjo Kazooie and Young Link, those are mine.
Oh,
Cool.
sure. I haven't even touched Banjo.
Oh, I
really
forgot
should
Fox.
do that.
Fox
oh,
too.
yeah.
I played
Everybody
Yeah,
plays Fox.
Fox is so fun.
Yeah.
He's Speedy Boy.
He is
Right.
a speedy boy.
Yeah, I don't have much on my list for things to talk about. I talked about it some last week. I'm playing Street Fighter Third Strike, which, if you're unfamiliar, is a pretty old Street Fighter game that originally came out on arcade cabinet and is now arguably considered one of the best Street Fighter games of all time. And me and a buddy have jumped back into it recently. We're waiting for Guilty Gear Strive. I've gone on this like year-long journey of getting really hard back into fighting games in a way that I haven't been in a long time. I built it, you can see it over my shoulder there, but I built a custom stick with Sanwas and stuff. Shout out Naruto one time.
Oh, that's Naruto. I was like hoping and thinking it was, but that's awesome.
Those are all Naruto pops behind me too.
Oh,
I
shit.
have- yeah.
Oh my God,
I have
that's
a complete
awesome.
set of everything.
That's cool.
Except for the new wave. Yeah, we'll talk about that some other time. But yeah, I custom stick and everything, and we've just been throwing down in a bunch of different stuff that's been popping up. We were playing some old Guilty Gear. The Guilty Gear Strive beta that happened not too long ago was arguably one of the best betas I've ever played in my life. The netcode was amazing. The video game is visceral and very cool. It feels like what you expect a next-gen fighting game to be. If you could think about what that feels like, that's Guilty Gear Strive, and it's very exciting. So in the meantime, we needed something to go back to, and just so happens that Street Fighter Third Strike, even though it was an arcade game, there was a free program called Fightcade that gives a bunch of older games network play. So we've been playing via Fightcade for that with a bunch of randoms and a few buddies that I know, and having an absolute blast. I would recommend Third Strike to just about anybody on its attitude, art, and soundtrack alone. That game rips, man.
Oh yeah.
It is very stylistic, and it's it's super cool. It's like that '90s grunge, dirty graffiti feel, and it's really not a Street Fighter game in a way because it has a parry system. So you being a Smash guy, do you play much fighter game aside from Smash?
I have a weird relationship with fighting games. Two of my roommates. I also like my school's fighting game club is basically my friend group at this point.
Sure.
Two of my roommates and then a bunch of other people that I'm pretty good friends with in my school. We all go to fighting game club, and like everyone who's involved in that club, pretty much I've hung out with a decent amount. But yeah, I love Street Fighter. That's probably the fighting game series that I've played outside of Smash the most.
Sure.
But I love Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Dragon Ball Fighters. But yeah, I'm not super good at fighting games. Like, I don't have the full grasp. Like, obviously, I know how to do quarter circles. I know how to do, like, very basic things. But when it comes to doing combos and stuff, I'm a little less well-versed. But Third Strike, and you were speaking my language there. I think Third Strike on an aesthetic level alone is such a... I hesitate to say flawless because I haven't seen all of it. But, like, there's so much awesome stuff in that game. And I think, like, even just watching it is so cool. Like, I feel like the most famous fighting game moment ever outside of, like, Wombo Combo is the Evo Moment 37. Yeah. with Justin Wong, where he does all the parries and everything,
which is incredible. So to break, John, if you're unfamiliar, Justin Wong is
Street Fighter.
Listen, it is one of the most incredible moments of all time. I'll send you the clip later. Evo Moment 37, Justin Wong was at a championship match for Third Strike. I think it was like, the quarterfinal, semifinal, something like that. And he was playing as Chun-Li, which Chun-Li is all about the kicks, legs, if you've played Street Fighter at all. And so in Street Fighter Third Strike, there's a parry system. And traditionally in a fighting game, you hold back, you're blocking. Well, in Street Fighter, if you press forward right when an opponent's attack is about to land within 1 or 2 frames, you're going to parry that move and you don't take any damage whatsoever. The important thing is...
And it gives you the advantage there.
And you get advantage from it. The important thing is that if your health's low enough and you get hit by a super move, even if you're blocking, you do take damage. So parrying is a great way to get out of that damage you would take from a super ability or something like that. So on the main stage, Justin Wong throws back-to-back supers of Chun-Li's, which is just a flurry of kicks, and his opponent parries every single one, which is something like 16 or 17.
I've seen that. Yeah.
It's absurd. So every single time one of those kicks hit, he had to literally push the stick forward and time it perfectly, and it's just an insane moment.
Isn't he also like on the brink of death or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's about to die.
Yeah, he literally would have died to chip had he not parried. So if he would have just blocked, the game was Justin's. It really is an incredible moment that doesn't make any sense to you if you're not in the fighting game community in a lot of ways. But it's that's Third Strike, baby. I mean, it's such an artsy, attitude-filled game, and I love it. It's everything that I love about classic Street Fighter. Really done in one of the best packages that I think they've ever put out. So having an absolute blast with that. And I'm probably going to continue playing. I'm an Ibuki guy. That's my wheelhouse. I like the ninja stuff. We're starting to get a little high level with it and really getting into the combo chains and all that stuff. And I'm having a blast, man. It's I haven't had time to do stuff like this in the past. And the pandemic's given me a lot of that. Just learning those skills that I never thought I could. So that's what I'm doing. I'm playing video games, and one of these days I'm going to beat up Justin Wong. You heard it here first.
I like Sub-Zero.
Kick my ass. Yeah, that's a fine answer, little Johnny.
I feel
Connor's favorite
that game is just
Street
like
Fighter, Street Fighter, the movie, the game.
Okay. I feel like that game is just Capcom firing on all cylinders, though. Like
Yeah.
peak '90s Capcom, because you have them coming off of like Street Fighter 2, which is again one of the best fighting games ever, one of my personal favorite games of all time. You combine that with like a visual style that's kind of reminiscent of something like Darkstalkers, with that incredible sprite work, very fluid motions and everything, and you just have a thing of beauty there. And I feel like John, if you haven't played it, which I'm assuming you probably haven't played, like it's on Switch. There's even net play on Switch.
I don't play Street Fighter.
If you want to, if you
Part of that Street Fighter
fun.
Anniversary collection,
yeah,
I think.
yeah, which has like 20 games in it or something.
An
like that?
absurd amount.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's only like
my
$30.
fighting games stick to Mortal Kombat, Injustice a little bit, Smash, and then Dragon Ball Fighters. I don't go beyond that really.
So I will say one thing. If you're into Dragon Ball Fighters, you'd probably be into Guilty Gear.
Yeah, it's the same.
I will tell you.
It's all Arxis.
I think so.
I believe.
Yeah, all Arxis on that.
Yeah. I've seen
I haven't
videos
played
and
much
stuff of it.
Fighters.
Looks crazy.
Guilty Gear rips,
It's
man.
so pretty.
You want
It's
to talk
so- it
about
looks awesome.
stuff that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever? That's Guilty Gear lore, man. It's like the
Isn't
most
like the main guy called
absurd.
Soul Bad Guy or something?
Soul Bad Guy, and there's Kai Kiski, who's kind of like the opposite. The thing is that I think it's Daisuke Ishiwatari, that's the maker for Guilty Gear or whatever. He's a super heavy metal dude, so all of the characters are based on different types of heavy metal. And the two main guys, which are best friends, are actually technically father-in-law, son-in-law, because the one married the other guy's daughter. It's a thing. Guilty Gear's nuts. Check it out sometime. It's the most absurd, nonsensical bullshit, which is real cool. So, yeah, I'll get off my high horse. Street Fighter Third Strike, very, very good video game.
Yes.
I recommend it anywhere you can get it. And you can beat up cars. I mean, who doesn't want to do that in Street Fighter? It's the best thing in any of the Street Fighters is blowing up cars with kicks.
All right. Well, I think that is where we're going to end episode 136 of the Pixel Street Podcast. We went a little long today, but hey, we had a good discussion, so I'm all about that.
We did.
Yeah. Connor, where can the people find you?
Good people can find me on the internet at The Real Birch, either on Twitch or Twitter. That would be BRCH, like the tree, just without the I. Come find us. We'd love to have you on the social stuff, Discord. John and I have been talking about the next PAL party night. We just did Jackbox was our last one, right?
Yep.
That we ran through. Yeah, that was an absolute blast. I don't think we've nailed down what our next one is, but we've got a few kicking around that we've talked about. I just want to play Drop Shot, man. That's the only thing I want to do is Rocket League Drop Shot. It's the only thing I can ever think
Maybe we'll
about.
do Smash. That would be pretty cool.
Hey, Smash should be a great one too. So yeah, come join us. Follow me if you like cool opinions or bad opinions. I've got both.
They're mostly bad.
Yeah, I'm perspective.
All right, Charlie, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at CHAS_MKE. That's Chaz Milwaukee. You can also find me on my podcast, Comfort Food. And you can find that on Twitter at comfort_food_pod. That's the best way to keep up with everything. That show is hopefully coming back soon, depending on how catch-up post-COVID goes with schoolwork and everything. And then I guess the only other place you can find me is on my YouTube channel. That's just Chaz, CHAS. I don't do a whole lot of stuff on there, but I did a cool little series for a couple months called My Video Game Diary, where I broke down all the games that I beat that month. And back at the beginning of quarantine, I was beating like 15 games a month. So go check that out. Not 15 games a month. That's a little high, but way more games than anyone should be beating in a month.
All right. And I am John Hansen. You can find me on Twitter at RevXShadows. I might do some more streaming of Skyrim on our YouTube of Pixel Street videos. But other than that, you can find my writing on GamePer.com. We actually just brought in some former DualShockers that Charlie probably knows. So yeah, check that out. Like I said earlier, I have an editorial going up soon on Stubbs the Zombies re-release and some hot takes on that. But yeah, other than that, that's about all that I have at the moment. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to come back next Friday, same time and place. We will see you then. Bye!
We love
Peace
you
out.
all. Play Street Fighter Third Strike, please.